Yeah.
Okay, we're live.
Okay.
Randall's
Yeah, where's Randy?
he's away at a conference. Remember?
Okay. Okay, yeah. Good morning. I'd like to call to order the July 15th, 2026 Ulster County Industrial Development Agency meeting. It is 9:10 a.m. Can we please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We'll have a quick roll call. Michael Ham here, Rachel Silverman.
Here.
Stephen Kelly. Present. Trevor Kerwin. Here. Randall Leverett is absent with notice. Joseph Ferraro. Here. And Costuwell. Present. Thank you very much. We're going to go into the mission statement of the Ulster County Industrial Development Agency. It is to advance the job opportunities, general prosperity, and long-term economic vitality of Ulster County residents by targeting tax incentives, bonding, and other assistance to foster creation and the attraction of new business and the retention and expansion of existing businesses. In front of you on your nice new screens. Okay, so we're holding down the footprint, okay, with paper. You will see the regular board minutes of the June 17th, 2026 meeting. I ask that you review, and I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Public comment on agenda items only? Yes, sir. Okay. Executive session?
I don't think we need it, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. We'll go to the chair's report. So the chair's report goes as follows. We are constantly getting calls in and out of this office. You know what? I'm going to stop it right there, okay? Because I'm going to tell you why. The executive director has a great report, as always, and she is the one getting bombarded with everything coming in and out of there. So let's turn it over to the executive director.
That's an excellent report, Mike.
Very nice.
Thank you, Mike, for that. So I wanted to start off the report talking about some updates with our community engagement strategies that, we've kind of been working at since I've been here, but we value its importance. And with that, we hosted a lunch and learn on June 23rd at Ulster BOCES. It was a great event. Appreciate several board members who were in attendance. We had a good turnout. We had about 50 people in attendance. And we gave everybody lunch for about $230. And so, we're pretty happy with how it turned out. We kind of gave a nuts and bolts PowerPoint about the IDA, the benefits that we offer, and really dove into the process of applying. I think it was helpful for both potential project applicants as well as members of the community who may be interested in learning about the IDA and its process. And we had a good turnout as well from many members of the legislature who were in attendance for that event. So we are happy to have had that. And then in addition to us giving our presentation, we also had the Office of Economic Development there, as well as the tourism office talking, really about how we all work together and the kind of suite of services in economic development that are available to members of the community. And so from there, we're kind of rolling right into our event on August 5th. We will be at Innis, which is an IDA project in Accord, at 5:30 on Wednesday the 5th. We hope that all of the members who are available that evening will be there to join us. We're working on putting together a presentation that really focuses on 50 years of the IDA, with keeping really an eye towards the future as well. We're really hoping to have a good turnout. The RSVP is live on our website. If you have people you want to invite, please feel free to reach out to me with any contact information or forward on or share our materials. The event is free to the public. We anticipate hopefully having about 100 people, which seems to have been what our attendance had been for previous events. So we hope to also secure that many people for this year. And we're keeping an eye on the budget that was set by the board for the event. Right now, we're on budget, and we are also have secured some sponsorships as well to help with some of these costs. As having these events. For some reason, lunch we can manage. When you get into evening events at spaces, the cost is quite different. But again, we think it's going to be a great event. And so if anyone wants to participate in the event in any way, we've got kind of a different modality this year. We're going to be doing a little bit of speaking. We're hoping to put a video together. And then we want to have some exhibits where we highlight just some pictures, some past projects, just little factoids about some of the work the IDA has done over the years. So if anyone's interested in participating, please let myself or Ian know. And then moving kind of outside of economic development, there's a few kind of just small items. One, in your Google Drive, you will find just a few emails. These were public comments submitted to the legislature having nothing to do with the IDA, any business before the IDA or any of the IDA policies, but the IDA was CC'd on these emails, and we just wanted the board to have access to those, so you'll find those in your Google Drive. From there, we just wanted to update you that things going on in the county. The county has appointed a new director of economic development, Leslie Wellington. I look forward to meeting her later this week, and we will keep the board informed as anything coming out of the county's economic development department pertains to the work of the IDA, and we hope to have a strong partnership moving forward. In other economic development news, we wanted to just inform the board that the Village of Ellenville was awarded a $4.5 million New York Forward grant from ESD. For those of you who don't know, these are really can be game changers for small villages and towns. They're very competitive, so we're very excited for the Village of Ellenville. And then wrapping up with projects, we've been in conversation with a few potential applicants, really working through the process of getting applications in front of the board. We anticipate those applications being ready in the coming months, likely September, potentially October. And then with that, I want to turn it back to the chair about the August meeting and the potential of, kind of either dispensing with it or postponing it.
So with that on the August meeting, as we look through the agenda, and the agenda is very light, and I do know a lot of people here have things going on also. So look for an email from the executive director, I'm sorry, about, pushing it back or postponing that meeting. Okay. Depending on what we've got coming in front of us.
Is that predictable that we can predict it now?
Yeah, let's predict it.
As long as no one has any objections, we'd like to cancel the meeting. If there is some sort of urgent IDA business, then we may look to either move it to the 4th week in August or, have to. Yeah, but we don't anticipate there being any urgent business before the board. However, I think keep an eye out on the emails. As you'll hear from some of the committee members, we're going into budget season. Governance is also working hard. So maybe use some of that time before the September meeting to have some of our committees do some of their work. So, but dispensing with the August meeting. So unless there's any objections, we'll remove that from both your calendars, our website, and the county calendar. So.
No objection here.
No objection.
None. All right, great. And that is my report. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Hill. Committee report. Steve, audit?
There's no report.
No.
It's just pending.
It's pending.
So the way it works is Low-Key Brill does a site visit, and then the project is required to submit weekly reports. They're missing one of those reports from the project. I have let the project know that these reports are required as per their IDA agreement. I have not received a response from the project as to why this report is coming in late. So I always like to err on the side of, give people the benefit of the doubt. But if there are ongoing concerns, we'll be sure to let you know.
This has not happened yet.
No, this is the first time we haven't received a report for the meeting. But again, we're not not on it. So he's already
Yeah.
gotten a strongly worded email from me and then very strongly worded letter from Kevin from Loki Brill. So
Okay, thank you, Steve. Finance, Rach?
We have our quarterly financials, which are in the document. So I think if you scroll down, right,
page 8.
page 8. All right, Mark.
Sure.
Thanks, Rachel. So on your screens is the quarter 2 financial statements for the Industrial Development Agency. Going to the balance sheet, total assets at the end of June were 648,000, almost 649. Most of it was comprised in bank accounts. 420,000 was in bank accounts. Of the 420, 223,000 was invested in a 30-day CD, which was renewed for a 6-month, either July or late June, I think.
Late June we had Mike sign that.
Okay. The remaining 196,000 was invested in regular checking or savings accounts. Accounts receivable was 218,000, almost 219. This is 100% for the Kingstonian project. Prepaid expenses were 3,100. This is basically, insurance expenses that were prepaid that we expense over the 12-month period. And due to the CRC was 5,500. That's basically the shared services agreements that we have that they owe the IDA. On the liability side, liabilities were 8,800. 5,400 was payables. This was bills received but not paid out by the end of the month for insurance, internet services, and consulting services. And the credit card liability of almost 2,000 was for office supplies, accounting software, and meeting expenses. Turning over to the statement of activity versus budget. Revenue for the first 2 quarters was 56,000 compared to a budget of 180,000. The main reason for this variance is there was this, as you can see, there was no project fees through the first half of the year. Currently, as you see in your board packet, there are 8 projects that are in the pending. If all these projects were to close, we would be significantly over budget in this category and actually showing a surplus for the year. Expenses for the first half of the year were 144,000 versus a budgeted expense of 182,000. As mentioned in past meetings, and I don't want to say too much because then he will actually bill us. The main reason for that favorable to budget, there were no legal expenses billed through the first half of the year.
Shame on you, Mark.
So with that, we had a net deficit of 88,000 versus budgeted deficit of 2,800. Any questions?
No? Thanks, Mark. That's
Good
it
job.
for finance.
Thank you, Rachel. Governance,
Oh
Costu?
wait, can we accept the report? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, we have
Can
to
I get
accept this
can I
report.
get a
So
motion
moved.
to accept?
All in favor?
Fine.
Do we need a call vote on that? No.
No.
Okay, good.
Thank you guys.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to governance, Costu.
Thank you, sir. Not much to update. However, there's a brief hash up of the renewables policy that we discussed previously. We will need to go back to governance as a baseline. The backdrop to that is, and I'll hand it to Chris and Hillary in a brief moment, and more importantly, Trevor, as a matter of fact. We had discussed how to address the asset classes last meeting and what the pilot payments should be. We don't have a deep understanding of it just yet. We have tried to have calls with NYSERDA. We have tried to reach out to other places as well. We are setting up a call with Hotchkiss Russ. And most importantly, we had our task force meeting, which is Trevor. And it's very important actually because we spoke with NYSERDA. They didn't have a lot of guidance for us at this point. However, in the discussion with Trevor, we believe, and we'll discuss with governance, that we should be looking at this whole policy, perhaps one, as an infrastructure-based policy. We will think about it being as either energy or other infrastructure, but that should be broadly the concept. And then second, since there's no precedent for the pilot payments and what the rates should be, we will have to think about and consider what we believe will be optimal for this idea and our county, both from the standpoint what should be commercial and what should be competitive and what we're willing to do. And we'll have to think about it on an ongoing basis. I just wanted to give an update here so that everybody is aware. We will meet again as governance, and then most probably for the September meeting, we'll have a recommendation. I'll hand it to.
I don't have a
Chris.
lot to add to that, other than I will say that, not to get too into the weeds, but Hillary pointed out another IDA, different law firm, we don't represent them. But in their renewable energy policy, it's interesting because most renewable energy policies that we worked on for our clients and other IDAs across the state has a per megawatt charge. And in theirs, it just says there's a per megawatt charge determined by the board, doesn't get into 5,000 for solar, 1,000 for battery storage, but they do have the 2% escalator as the concept. So we might, something the governance could look at. The other thing in that other IDA's renewable energy policy, they only provide a pilot. They don't provide a sales tax exemption or a mortgage tax exemption. So it's kind of, the idea is, well, these don't create jobs, not the best projects. That's part of the concept. So we'll give you a pilot, but we're not giving these other financial assistance. So just something to think about.
Yes, we will. And also it's about how much energy is being produced versus a headline number. But on that, I'll hand it over to Trevor so he can.
The only thing I'd add at this point, I'm also reaching out to other jurisdictions that have done this. I'll just use the example of California. It's maybe not a good example, where the state government put in a property tax exemption for battery storage. I think it's just battery storage. And as you can imagine, some counties push back against that rather strongly. And so the where it comes down to is the battery storage in concert with renewable generation? In other words, is it on the same facility? It's not always the entities that do it, like the LLCs, that they're all separate, but is this battery storage helping these renewables, and because they're intermittent, they're solar or wind, on grid stability, right? It's an overall package versus a battery somewhere that's just drawing from the grid, storing and letting it out during peak use, right? So the grid also needs those, but the mindset of how you treat them is different. So what's the best, if you've got something where there's generation and there's a faceplate capacity of 100 megawatts for a solar farm? Okay, is it a per megawatt charge? What's the value of the overall thing? Is there a client who it's prisoner to? In other words, if I show up here and say, I want to build light manufacturing, I also want to do renewables beside it, and I'm going to have a battery because it's my backup energy sources instead of a generator. Okay, so what's that whole thing worth for us as an IDA or to the taxing authority? So long story short, I just want to get a better feel for some best practices down the people that have shaken out the battery piece in other jurisdictions. So like there was an original, like with renewables, there was an original thing. How do we enable it? Then we learned stuff about like, maybe we shouldn't do that, right? Or maybe we need to tweak the policy. So that's kind of where it is. But this is my own view. The infrastructure is something that's critical. Whether it's fiber, whether it's power, or whatever it is, to bolster everything else that we do. So we should be enabling that. Renewables, or this energy piece, what the task force is working on, is a piece of that, but it could be applied to other infrastructure too, because that makes this a much easier place to set up your business or expand or do whatever if you've got reliable infrastructure. So. Anyway, that's my point. So we just need a little bit more feedback on it.
Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah.
So Chair, not much of an update, but we wanted to get everybody on the same page. And as you can see, we are working towards it. We will need to schedule a governance committee. We had scheduled one, but we canceled it because we didn't have a lot of update.
Okay.
And ideas to discuss, in fact. But when we meet next, it'll move forward. That's all I have.
Yes, because I was coming to that, and then the director called up and said we didn't have a lot of updates.
We had not yet either. We had a call scheduled with NYSERDA, which is where, as Kastub had mentioned, we were hoping to get a little more direction. And when we didn't get that, we didn't really feel that the updates to governance would have any substance. And since we were seeing you all here today on Wednesday, we felt it was more prudent of everyone's time to give this update today as opposed to on a Friday afternoon.
Perfect.
We would have ended up spending time that wasn't necessary in a governance meeting.
In nice, never thought I'd be saying that, but in NYSERDA's defense, they do
record you
implement
saying.
policy, and it is a topsy-turvy policy world. I don't think I got to tell anybody at this table, given the governor's announcement yesterday about data centers, for example.
Yep.
It's like
Mhm.
NYSERDA's like, okay, just tell us what we're aiming at, and we'll aim at it. So they may not have, like, they're at the other end of the process, not at the front. So
And we might get to the front and we might be the first ones to come up with something that may actually make sense. So we don't know yet. At the same time, I think we're moving in the right direction in terms of how we're thinking from looking at it from an infrastructure standpoint, how to think about it not only as a battery current technology, but also long term. And then also how to actually invite and make it competitive for the investors to come in essentially and help us develop it. That's all true.
What did I hit?
I don't know,
You
but
said to
you're
go to
gonna
the
hit.
UCIDA.
There we go. Okay, thank you, Costume. Always a good report.
Thank you.
Okay, pending transactions. Chris?
Thank you, Chair. As you'll see on page 8, we've added a new column at Costume's request about estimated closing schedule. Shannon's reached out to all of these applicants.
Yeah,
and-
I think some of the new ones we haven't, but yeah, most of the ones that have been sitting there now for,
Right.
a minute.
Unfortunately, some of them, I believe the reply was, we're still trying to figure out our financing and things like that. So we're still on standby for some of those, but we thought it was time in talking with Hillary to kind of nudge them a little bit in terms of whether or not they're going to close this project. On page 11, pending enforcement. Don't mean to jump ahead, Chair, if that's okay.
No, go right ahead.
All right. So you'll see the 3 projects. You'll recall that at the request of the board, I sent letters to all of these projects. These projects have had some issues in the past with sending the information that Hillary needs to fill out the annual report and file with Paris. And the letter's contents in a nutshell is, hey, in the past, you've been late with this, or you haven't provided us all the information. We hope going forward, you'll be in better compliance. And it did mention, if you don't comply in the future, we'll have to, of course, the stick is, if you don't comply in the future, we might have to pull the pilot and put the property back on the tax roll, which had the intended effect, which was, I was actually surprised at how quickly I got emails and calls from either project applicant representatives or their counsel. So, and after some discussion with them, I know Hillary talked with some of them as well by email or whatnot. They understood that the gist is this is just kind of a heads up that, get your act together and moving forward, please comply. So I think it had the intended effect.
Yeah, very quick, which was wonderful to see because I banged my head against the wall. And I think, to just give the board some perspective, typically the person filling out the report is not the lawyer or the project representative. It's someone working in an administrative role who may not, understand the ramifications. So I think that these letters were hopefully really helpful in motivating staff as well to see the importance of getting these to us timely.
That's all I got, Chair.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, is there any new business? Any new business? Okay, with that, nothing? Okay, with that, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So you guys, if you go back to your Google Drives, you should see the CRC meetings. Let me know if anyone has trouble finding it.
By accident.
All right, hey, it's a happy accident.
Look at that. Okay, we all ready? So I will do a quick roll call. Well, let me formally start it. Okay, so I'm going to begin the Ulster County Capital Resource Corporation meeting. It's July 15th, 2026. Time is 9:35 a.m. Um, so I'll do a quick roll call. Michael Ham here, Rachel Silverman,
Here.
Stephen Kelly,
Present.
Joseph Ferraro,
Here.
Trevor Kerwin,
Here.
Randall Leverett is absent with notice, and Costa-Well.
Present.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance. We did that in the UCIDA to open this meeting. The mission statement of the Ulster County Capital Resource Corporation is to promote community and economic development in Ulster County in ways that complement the work of Ulster County, primarily through issuing and selling bonds for nonprofit institutions. In front of you, you will have the regular board meetings from June 17th. On page 3, I ask that you review, and I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Public comment on agenda items only? Okay, none. No executive session needed. Let the chair's report for the UCIDA reflect the chair's report for the UCCRC. Executive director's report.
Also, let the executive director's report for the UCCRC be that of the UCIDAs.
Thank you. Thank you, Hillary. Committee reports, audit. Steve,
There's no.
No report.
no report. Okay. Finance, Rachel.
Finance, we have our quarterly financials, Mark. They're on page 6.
Page 6.
Thanks, Rachel. We'll go over the balance sheet on page 6 for the corporation. On the assets were 710,000, almost 711,000. That was comprised 100% of cash and cash equivalents. 223,000 of that was a CD that matured at the end of the month. That was renewed late June. The remaining 486, almost 487,000 was in traditional bank accounts, of which 275,000 of those funds are reserved for the Small Business Loan Fund program. On the liabilities, primarily just due to the IDA is that shared services that is paid from the CRC to the IDA, and then $900 in accounts payable for an outstanding accounting service bill that was received but not paid at the end of the month. Over to the statement of activity. Revenues for the first half of the year were almost 12,000. The majority of that is the annual administrative fees of 5,800 and a $1,000 application fee from Senior Life Foundation. As note, if this project was to close in 2026, that would bring significant cash to the CRC. On the expenses were $18,700 for the first half of the year, with the exception of 5,400 in outsourced accounting expenses and 7,800 in audit expenses. All other expenses of the corporation are 5% of its IDA expense. With that, the corporation did have a deficit of about 7,000 through the first half of the year.
Any questions?
Just want to note, being that it is mid-July, we will begin budget season, so we'll insert that into the IDA minutes as well. I'll be working with Hillary, so hopefully we'll have a rough draft to the committee, the finance committee, in September.
September is our goal, yeah.
With approval in October, and then on-time submission at the end of October.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark.
Chair, we need a motion to.
To accept that, yeah.
Yep.
Can I get a
So
motion
moved.
to accept it? Thank you, Costa.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel.
Yep.
Governance.
Thank you, Chair. Not much to update here. We did not have a governance meeting, as mentioned earlier. We didn't need one. However, there are 2 topics in the old business that we will discuss in a bit. One is the recommended loan fund policy, and the second one is the recommended loan fund committee charter, which I believe has been reviewed by the committee as well. And when we discuss that, I'll hand it to Hillary and Chris to provide more detail, Chair. But that's all from this end.
Okay, thank you. Old business status pending projects, Chris?
Thank you, Chair. So the Senior Life project, which is referenced on page 6. We continue to have weekly calls on that. Draft bond documents have gone out. The underwriter was really looking to close this, basically in June, really on the realistic expectations. So I think it's gonna close towards the end of August, but other than that, it's
Okay.
full steam ahead with that one, and it would represent a substantial
Great.
fee.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do we want to? All right, so we've got the recommendation for the loan fund policy. Who's heading that up? Who's it?
I guess that's me.
It's you, right?
so
You,
we ha-
Joe,
And
Right.
Randall.
right? And
Yes.
Randall's not here, so
And Rachel is serving, the committee doesn't have a
No.
chair or formal structure, but we had Rachel serving kind of as the liaison to the board, to represent the committee.
So we have the latest draft of both in the materials. I'm not sure what we want or should accomplish in this meeting based on this, other than go over it and see if anyone has any questions. I have a couple questions still
Oh, sure.
on the policy. Do you want to should we go through the questions now? I don't know if everyone's had a chance to read the latest. So my first question is, under our loan fund structure, we say that interest shall not accrue on accounts on deposit in the loan fund account. Why do we have to say that? It's the last sentence.
what page are you on?
I'm on
Rach?
page 12.
12.
It's the second page
Okay.
of the loan
That
fund
feels
policy.
legal easy to me. I don't know if you can decipher that, Chris. I apologize.
I mean, could that just be may or don't have to, but
Yeah, there's no
if
reason
it,
why you
can
could.
it sit in an account earning?
Yeah.
There's
Do
no
we have to,
reason.
do we have to literally find an account that pays no interest?
No, that's, I don't agree with that. Sentence. You
Okay.
can certainly accrue interest on CRC funds.
Yeah, so the interest, I did not anticipate opening a second account that doesn't earn interest.
No,
Okay, so we
Okay.
want to,
that
So we
should
just
come,
wanna
we wanna
amend
take that
that,
out.
okay.
that should come out.
okay. My next question is, under borrower eligibility, I think we had talked about including a non-discriminatory bullet there.
I think my recollection was to make sure that we include language about non-discriminatory, and so we have a statement of non-discrimination on page 18.
But that's that we won't discriminate against a borrower. We are talking here about an applicant coming to us can't be someone who is discriminating,
Oh, yeah.
or
I
it's
see.
grantor.
I-
Those two entities can also not.
I think, and I'm gonna lean on Chris
Yeah.
here, is that we give the board the ability to say, hey, if let's say you're a discriminating organization, is that you don't meet the purpose of the loan fund, that these uses, because of your,
I think it's necessary.
But
I
we
also
can-
think
okay.
it's necessary.
Yes.
I mean, you could put it in the application itself saying, before we give you a penny.
But shouldn't you have it in the
But shouldn't it
policy?
be in our
That's fine, yeah.
policy
That's fine.
that we're not intending?
So it's adding just a sentence saying that.
I don't mind it
borrower's
being in
not
the
agrees not
application
to-
either.
Right, it
You
could
know,
be there
It should
too,
mirror both, yeah.
but we should be able to point to our requirements of eligibility that neither you nor the grantor of the grant that's underwriting this be discriminating in any way
Yes.
Okay.
against
The relevant
the same,
law.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Do we need to follow, what's the county have guidelines on what's defining discrimination, if that's the case? Like, do we need to define that, or can we use something else?
we can use the exact same language that we're held to.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah.
guys
I
are
don't think we need to.
doing a good job determining what is.
Okay, so towards the bottom of that page, I think we had talked about lowering that interest rate from 4% as the fixed interest
At the
rate.
bottom of which
Sorry,
page?
under
I'm
the bridge
sorry.
loan summary,
14.
page 13, at the bottom of page 13. The interest rate we're
Um,
charging at 4% seems, I thought we said that seemed a little high.
I think it was, or the cost of capital as
Yeah.
determined at the time of application. So if our cost of capital at the time of application is, and then I thought she had whichever is lower, the lower of, yeah.
The
So
lo-
the
okay.
lower of, so it's either fixed at 4.
Yeah.
That's
or if, or whatever our cost, so if our cost of capital is 3, they get the 3.
So is our cost of capital what we could possibly get if we
In the
left it
CD,
in
it's
the,
the
or
most
the CD?
recent
Okay.
CD, so it would be 3.05 if someone were to apply today.
Okay,
So delete that.
so delete that and delete that. Next
Well, wait,
question.
we're leaving that.
We're leaving that,
Yes,
sorry,
okay.
delete my
Okay.
note.
Sure.
All right, this one, and this might just be me, it is probably just me. Under eligible uses of funds and ineligible uses of funds. An eligible use of funds is working capital, including employee wages directly related to awardable reimbursable grant.
Mhm.
An ineligible use of funds is general organizational or administrative operating costs.
We had spoken about this one, so the idea being that if, let's say, with that grant, I hire you, Rachel, and Chris, he's gonna do this or that, he's gonna do administrative work, and you're gonna be out on the, doing whatever the grant, then those would be eligible uses of funds. But if it's going to general operating costs, it's an ineligible use of fund. If the operating costs are specifically defined as a usable operating cost in the grant,
I get it.
I thought that was the agreement,
I understand what you just said.
but
I understand it too, but
I
I think for
didn't-
clarity's sake, maybe you gotta clean that up a
Well,
little.
why
we
would
do-
why would we not, if you
Yeah.
add people, it costs more to manage people.
Right.
Why would you not cover that cost?
so the grant may say, let's say you have it in 15% administrative overhead. So we would be able to help support working capital towards that because that's an amount that the grant allows. If it's outside of that, and let's say that they're just gonna use this to fund their day-to-day operations,
But at the end of the day, we're only loaning against a grant, so
Yeah, why
it's
would we
sort of
care?
like we have to trust them that the dollar we give them is for what the grant said it would be for.
but they're going to, so the grant is the one that's gonna monitor that. They're not gonna, these are for reimbursable grants. So if they
Right.
submit to the grant more money in operating costs than the grant allows, it's gonna get rejected by
Rejected.
them
So
anyway.
why
So
don't we-
So
the
why do we
posting
put that? We
of
shouldn't
it,
put that in there at all
So we
because
should
we don't
take it-
care.
So we should take the line out of ineligible uses.
Yes.
And we know that if someone came to us, well, they're
They've
not gonna have a
already
grant
screened.
for it anyway, but that's where we would screen out general operating costs, because we would not be
I
doing
would take
that.
that sentence out, and
Okay.
I like the language in eligible directly related to an awardable reimbursable grant. So I think that covers what we're talking
Yep,
about.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
it, because
I
it's,
get
it's
it
only
now.
for, all we're
No, I
doing
think
is
it
we're
makes sense.
funding the
With me.
startup of the grant.
and then we don't have to redefine it again as
Right.
ineligible, it just creates
Yep.
confusion.
And actually,
I give you
to
mine if you
Chair's
want.
point, it cleans up the language because it keeps it up there and does not.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
All right, excellent, thank you. Then I think I have one more, just one more, people.
Mhm.
Under servicing, collecting, workouts and default.
Yep.
Shouldn't this timeline of paying us back match whatever the grant award timeline is? Like if someone gets a grant and they're gonna get all the money up front or
They never get
50%
all the money up
now,
front,
right?
yeah.
So let's say they're gonna get a little bit, 50% now and 25% 6 months later, and then 6 months later. Shouldn't our payments just match that, since when they get that money, they have
Yeah.
to give it
So
to
what,
us?
And I-
based on the allocation of the money each time?
We
Is that
have
what
it
you're
in
looking at?
there as agreed upon via a loan award letter. That was the language that, so that way,
See, the thing is, if
In the
they're
square
gonna
brackets.
get, in many cases, they have to spend the money before they get
Right,
the
you
money
exhaust
back.
this much to get that much, right?
So we're basically funding that. So if they get paid that back, then they still have no working capital
But,
if they have to pay us.
but it looks, right, so, and that's what we're asking. So let's say someone's not, say they're gonna get a little bit now or nothing now, but they're gonna get it, I don't know, in a year. And we loan the money, they've gotta come up with the money to pay us back based on getting that money, but I don't know if we take into account how they're going to get their money or when, unless I
So
missed that part.
and again, I'm not, legally able to interpret this as well as you are, and I think it's important that we have the right legal language in here, but how I read it is that, we've got this 60 days, which to me covers us, that we have some way to say, hey, you know what, we want this money sooner, or at a later date as agreed upon via a loan award letter, and then, or communication from the UCCRC. So this allows us to kind of use that award letter and then as a committee determine how that repayment schedule is going to be.
Okay,
And then it's like, or otherwise, we keep kind of going back to the applicable loan award letter, and that the discretion of the loan committee repayments provisions include a loan award letter that may require, like, it just gives you, I think, a lot of flexibility to determine what that repayment schedule is going to be. But if legally it doesn't protect us enough, then yes, we should tighten it
I
up.
think we should at least keep in the language about the late fee, though. So
You know,
Oh.
I'm reading that too, Chris, right
as
now.
determined by the,
Yeah. The borough contacts UCCRC to notify the payment will be late and provides a valid reason. Up to how many
Yeah,
times?
and dates, yeah.
Mhm.
What's the mulligan there?
right.
It says late charges may be waived at the discretion of the loan committee and should generally be
That I
waived
understand, right?
if.
But what
Uh,
about if the borrower, okay, they get the loan
Consistently.
Yeah.
and they're habitual on
Mhm.
calling once a month to go, we apologize, we're 4 days late, we're 7 days late, we're 9 days
Well, they
late.
have to
How
have
many?
good repayment history. So
Uh,
if they've done
But
it
that's after
once,
the fact.
So-
There they get the loan.
I kind of like leaving it just as discretion of the loan committee. 'Cause
The-
then they can
Correct.
cover all
Yes.
of it. Yeah.
I mean,
And-
yeah, we can take all of that out and just put at the discretion of the committee. That's fine.
Well, and mulligan's a mulligan, it's one time.
Yeah, so we
One
have
time.
we have
Would
the
be good.
one time, the first time they're late.
Turn that off.
We then have a valid reason, and then we have good
Apologize.
repayment history as maybe more just guidelines for you as committee members to say, hey, is this something where we should be forgiving or is it not? But if we want everything to be up to your discretion, I think that that's fine as well.
I think it would be good to have the option, and this may just be how I read it. Like, so when I read this first sentence, the first loan payment is the only one that looks like it can be changed based on the award letter. Just the first loan payment, not
Not
the
the
whole
rest.
thing. Just, I mean,
Mhm.
isn't that's
Yeah.
what the first sentence says.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think anywhere in this paragraph does it say we
Thereafter.
can choose
Yeah.
to structure the payments based on the circumstances at hand. This particular, this locks people in regardless.
Yeah.
And I want to
Yeah.
make sure that we don't end up putting the borrower in a position that we didn't intend.
No, and I think just to be clear, the first loan payment, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have but then subsequent payments can also be set forth in the loan letter. So we allow that as well in the brackets. Or because we have the first or the 15th or subsequent or otherwise set forth in the applicable loan.
Yep.
So I think we
Okay.
can examine the award letter in its totality and set up a repayment schedule.
Okay. That's what that at the end of the
Yeah.
day is what I want to make sure we can do.
Yeah, I think this allows us, again, I have never set foot even in a law school, so
You're lucky.
I couldn't tell you if this
Your
allowed
brain does
that.
this. It's so annoying.
So most of this, I think, works. I think maybe we carve this out to say, basically, late fee payments would be, and late fee payments would be determined by the loan committee.
Yeah.
Right, in terms of, I don't know if we get into, it's up to the discretion of the loan committee to decide whether or not they waive any kind of fee.
And that's not arbitrary.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
okay, no. We'll carve that up.
Okay,
Okay.
And I'll give you a red line before September meeting.
that's good.
More times better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Again, we have not received any calls for anyone looking to apply at this moment, so we're not holding up any funds.
Yeah, we're
getting
not looking to
dispersed.
loan money to help people out and then be punitive
Mhm.
on the backside.
Right.
That's
That
not what
doesn't
this
make
is
Correct.
for.
sense. We
Especially
need
not
to
for
have
So-
the-
Okay.
Trying to help people,
Yeah.
help the smaller businesses.
So-
All right. Those
Good.
were all my questions.
All right.
So just to
Perfect.
clarify, we're accepting the language in the square brackets then?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That we need that language.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So pending a red line version with changes to
Yeah.
just that last part, can we get a motion to accept this as our policy?
So moved.
Well, I'm looking at Chris.
Or we want to wait till we see
I'd
it?
probably wait, and
Okay.
once you look at the red line, and
Okay.
you guys are all comfortable, then formally approve it at the September meeting.
Okay.
Motion withdrawn.
Okay, if we don't have this approved, this policy right now, can somebody still come to us on this?
And I'll say,
No.
sure, we'll be open in September. We can't accept applications right now.
Okay,
right?
okay,
Mhm.
so we can put it off, right? But obviously, nobody's coming to us before the 15th of
should
September.
have
Well,
policy
if
for
somebody
everybody.
could
They
submit
could
one,
still
but we
talk,
wouldn't
yeah.
act on it until we had the
Yeah, we
policy.
wouldn't act on it.
We
till
could accept the
policies.
application.
We
We
could
can
accept
entertain them.
No dollars go out yet until
Yeah.
it's formally
Right.
approved.
Authorize it. Okay. All right, so just so we have a game
Well,
plan.
we
on
couldn't
what
even
we're
meet,
putting together.
we're not gonna be meeting until September anyway, so.
Yeah, we can't disperse funds anyway until the board approves it. So we're
Right.
not,
so
yeah.
There's no
What-
issue, we can accept.
One suggestion is
Oh my
maybe
God.
under committee reports,
Whatever,
if
they
you
really
got
want
a
your
new
attention.
bullet for loan committee.
Okay.
Going forward, just a thought.
Okay.
Is there a timeline to the grant? Like, is it open now? Is that what it is basically? Like, we're the
Grant
they would-
season?
Yeah, is there a grant season?
Grants, it's always grant season.
Okay.
I think,
Okay.
I
Right.
think what we're looking to do is bridge that gap between the awarded grant,
Yeah. Okay.
which often, sometimes people may or may not apply depending on their ability to access, that kind of, the valley of, you kind of have to spend the money to
Just
get
a
the
lot
money.
of grants that are coming, submission dates are now. I mean, this week we submitted 2 large grants for, the rural transformation money from the feds. And last week we had another one. And then there are 3 that I'm not sure if they'll be done this week or next week. Also federal grants. So there's a lot of activity, sort of the spring has a lot of activity that then the awards don't come out for a while. They're, probably in the fall.
Right.
So, I think it's probably always grants coming out. There's a lot of activity, at least in our area right now.
So I think September will put us in a good place as those award letters start to come in.
Yeah.
So we'll have the loan fund.
I think it's gonna be good. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Any other questions on the policy or the charter?
So the charter, I don't think has been changed at all since
No.
the last meeting, so you could,
No.
if you wanted to, go ahead and approve that. It's up to the board. You want to wait till the September meeting and
Okay,
do it?
let's approve the chart.
Yeah, all right,
Okay.
can I get a motion to approve the charter?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
All right. So now we will officially add a loan fund bullet since we have a charter and a committee with a
Lawyers,
charter.
I mean, we can't help it.
That's it?
That's it.
Yes.
Listen, I tell you what, I want to commend the loan fund committee on a great job and a lot of hard work, and also going back and forth with Chris and Hillary. And, I know this has been something Hillary really wanted to get done, and I believe the rest of the board wanted to do it too. And I think it's going to help a lot of people going into the future. So thank you very much for that. Okay, is there any new business? Any new business? No new business? Motion for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Good comment.